Welcome to this AQA GCSE Sociology revision blast. Today we're focusing on perspectives of stratification, which is part of paper 2. We're going to start this revision blast with a 60-second challenge. You have 60 seconds to match the key phrases to the definition, matching the letters on the left with the numbers on the right. So you may want to have a pen and paper at the ready. Off we go. Okay, if you need a little bit more time, if there's a couple you haven't matched up, then just pause the video. We are about to reveal the answers. So A2 go together, we've got the bourgeoisie, another word for the ruling class, i.e. the people who own large businesses and therefore own the means of production. B5 is capitalism, an economic system based on market competition and a pursuit of profit, where the means of production are privately owned. We've got collective sentiment, C4, the feelings of society as a whole. D3 is consumerism, the preoccupation of people and society with the acquisition of goods. E7 is the glass ceiling, an invisible barrier preventing women from reaching the top positions in life and work. F6 is the proletariat, the word Marx used to describe the working classes, i.e. everyone who worked for someone else. G8 is social exclusion, where a group is not able to take full part in society and are left out of important aspects of life. And then right at the bottom we've got H1, stratified diffusion, the process whereby the way of life of those at the top of the class structure filters down to those below. Right, let's move on to a big reveal. You need to try and work out what is hidden behind the question mark before all the clues are revealed. So clue number 1, more likely to be a victim of crime. Number 2, more likely to be convicted of crime. Number 3, less likely to obtain a highly paid job. Number 4, less likely to attend university. Number 5, less likely to gain 5 good GCSE passes. So who are we talking about? Have we worked out the group yet? Let's reveal. It is the life chances of the working classes. Well done if you got that correct. We are now going to move on to a bubble quiz. You are going to see a number of questions, and the number of answers that are correct can range from 0 to all 4. So you just need to identify, so note down the correct answers. So number 1. Which of these is a Marxist view of class? Political power is healthy for society. A positive image of capitalism is portrayed by the ruling class. The privileged few exploit the many. And prestige is a result of hard work. So we're just going to leave those up for a moment. Which of these is the Marxist view of class? Let's reveal the answer. It is B and C. A positive image of capitalism is portrayed by the ruling classes and the privileged few exploit the many. Number 2. Which of these would functionalists agree with? Social stratification is oppressive and unfair. Roles in society must be filled by the best people for the job. Privilege is a result of hard work. And differences in pay are motivational. So which of those 3 would functionalists agree with? So those 4, sorry. Let's have a look. It is B, C and D. So roles in society must be filled by the best people for the job. That's role allocation. Privilege is a result of hard work, so the idea of achieving your status and meritocracy, and differences in pay are motivational. Number 3, which of these is associated with working class culture? Cultural capital, elaborate language code, property ownership, and restricted language code. So which of these is associated with working class culture? So just leave them up for a moment. So note down which ones you think are correct. Let's reveal. It is restricted language code. So the idea that working classes might find it a bit more difficult to communicate. They might not, in an exam situation at school, for example, they might not be able to decode the question quite as well as your middle class students. Obviously, there are lots and lots of exceptions to that. It is a bit of a stereotype. Number 4. Which of these is something said by Weber? Patriarchy is a key to oppression. The class system is simple. The ruling class controls the working class. Lifestyle affects identity more than wealth. And there is an emerging middle class. So which of these is something said by Weber? Let's have a look. It is C and D. So lifestyle affects identity more than wealth, and there is an emerging middle class. Number 5. Which of the following statements is true? Marx said that working class revolution is pointless. Davis and Moore believe that unequal pay is good for society. Weber said the working class revolution will happen in 2021. And Paul Willis said that all boys are generally pro-school. Which of those is true? Remember, it can be 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Let's have a look. It is B. So Davis and Moore believe that unequal pay is good for society. Let's move on to a connection spinner with a quick game of who said what. Society is meritocratic. We will all succeed if we work hard. The working classes should revolt against the bourgeoisie. Social cohesion is what binds us together in society. Society is patriarchal. People in the middle classes have the best jobs as they are naturally cleverer. And stratification matches people to the right jobs. Let's spin our spinner. Okay, so who said social cohesion is what binds us together in society? So think about what key sociologists that you should be very familiar with said this sentence. Just give you a moment to have a think. So who is responsible for this phrase? It is Emile Durkheim. Well done if you got that. Okay, we have a 60-second challenge. Again, you have 60 seconds to match the key phrases to the definition. Like before, we're matching the letters on the left with the numbers on the right. Off we go. Okay, well, hopefully, firstly, you recognise that these were all part of the functionalist view of stratification. So let's have a look at the key terms and their definitions. A5, we've got meritocracy, everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. B7, social control, the extent to which people are prevented from behaving in an anti-social manner. C3 is ascribed status, where you are born into your position in society. D2 is collective sentiment, the ideas that we all share about what is right or wrong in society. E1 is social cohesion, a sense of unity with others and strong bonds between members of society. F4 is achieved status, status that has been earned and not born into. And G6 is role allocation. Unequal rewards mean that people will get a job that matches their ability and the effort that they're prepared to make. Well done if you manage to match all 7 key phrases to their definitions. Right, we're going to have a go at amend the gap activity now. You need to complete the text that we've provided by adding the missing words or phrases. And the text is all about Durkheim's view on society. Okay, so what we would like you to do is to pause the video and read through the paragraph. You then need to note down the 5 key missing words. Now, the dashes are the number of letters in each word, and the last one should be on the same line. So formatting has made that go across 2. So read it through. What words are missing? Remember, we're looking for the number of dashes that are on the line or on the screen. Pause the video now and unpause when you are ready, and we'll reveal the answers. So if you haven't paused already, please do, because we are about to reveal the answers to you. Let's have a look. So by social cohesion, Durkheim meant the extent to which people in society were bound together in common purpose. By social control, he meant the extent to which people were prevented from behaving in an anti-social manner. Durkheim believed a good society had neither too little nor too much of either of these qualities. Too little social cohesion, and you have a selfish society where people do not look out for each other. And too much, and people do not seek personal advancement, which stifles progress. Too little social control, and you have lawlessness and chaos. And too much, you have oppression and tyranny. Well done if you got those correct. Right, we're going to do another connection spinner with who said what. Okay, so this time we've got the proletariat are wage slaves, status is different to class, working classes are controlled through ideology, power comes from 3 main sources, divisions are based on market situation, and there has been a class struggle throughout history. So who says there has been a class struggle throughout history? Okay, hopefully we have worked it out. Let's reveal. It is, of course, Karl Marx. He actually also said that working classes are controlled through ideology, and he said that the proletariat are wage slaves. So we're going to move on to a chains of analysis activity. In this activity, you are going to see 5 statements. You need to arrange the sentences to form a chain of analysis explaining why the ruling classes managed to keep in power. What we would like you to do is to have a look at this screen here. You need to pause the video and you need to pop those in the right order to explain how the ruling classes maintain their power. Once you've noted down the order that you think is correct, then press unpause and we will check your answers. Off we go. If you haven't paused the video, please do. We're just about to reveal the answers. Let's have a look. So we've got Marxists would argue that institutions within society are set up to keep the ruling classes in power. For example, the ruling classes own the means of production. This means that they employ the working classes and will want to pay them as little as possible. They also own the media, therefore can bombard the working classes with images of things they need to buy through the power of advertising. So the working classes will keep working harder to buy goods they don't need for little pay while their bosses get richer. If you got that in the right order, then well done. Right, we are going to move on to a picture grid. You're about to see 6 questions. As each question is answered, sections of an image will be revealed. Can you work out what the image is? Our first question is authority based upon the personality of the leader. So what do we call this type of authority based on the personality of the leader? Okay, let's reveal. It is charismatic authority, so based on personality. Okay, a very unhelpful grid revealed there. Dominance of the rules and procedures of institutions. So what do we call this? Dominance of the rules and procedures of institutions. Okay, let's reveal. It is bureaucracy. Okay, so you've got a little bit of someone's beard. Authority gained from fair and impartial rules. So what do we call that? Authority gained from fair and impartial rules. Okay, let's reveal. It's rational authority. Okay, so we can see quite a lot here. Power based upon customs and traditions. So power based upon customs and traditions, what do we call this? It is traditional authority. Well done. Political system that allows individuals to elect people to represent them. So what's the name of the political system that allows individuals to elect people to represent them? Let's have a look. It is democracy, so where we all go to the elections to vote. And our last square, political system where people are controlled by an individual or small group. So a political system where people are controlled by an individual or a small group. What do we call that? Let's reveal. It is a dictatorship. Right, let's reveal the last bit of the photograph. So who is our sociologist on the screen? Hopefully we all recognise that it is Max Weber. Now this links nicely into our next activity, which is a give me 3. So give me 3 things that Weber believed affected people's identity. Off you go. Okay, let's have a look. So he believed that your identity was affected by 3 things. Firstly, there was an economic dimension which represented class and wealth and included things like included property such as buildings, lands, farms, houses, factories, as well as other assets. He then claimed there was a cultural and social dimension that he calls status and prestige, which was the respect with which a person or status position is regarded by others. And then he talked about the political dimension, which was all about party and power, the ability of people or groups to achieve their goals despite opposition from others. So well done if you got those correct. We're going to move on to another one. So we're now looking for 3 main ways that people gain authority according to Weber. Now we did cover these a minute ago in the picture quiz. So 30 seconds to note down the 3 main ways that people gain authority according to Weber. Okay, let's have a look. So we have got our traditional authority based on a long established custom. So the most obvious example of this is the British royal family. And as I'm recording this revision blast, this is the day after the bank holiday that we have had for the coronation of King Charles. We've got charismatic authority leading through the power of their personalities. Leaders of this type tend to gain very high levels of popular support and have really loyal followers. So someone like Martin Luther King would be a really good example of that. And rational legal authority is leading because they have been chosen according to a system which has clear and logical rules for choosing the best qualified and most capable leader. So a good example of this would be the electoral system in the UK. Although we might argue that over the last few years, it hasn't always produced the best qualified and most capable leader, although the system in theory should do. Right, we're going to lead straight into our last give me three with that last point about rational legal authority. So give me 3 drawbacks of the rational legal type of authority. 30 seconds, off you go. Okay, let's have a look. So we've got money. So some people buy their way into politics and have huge sums of money behind their leadership campaigns. So a good example of this would be Donald Trump in the US elections a few years ago. We've got the concept of traditional voting patterns where someone gets into power because a group of people have always voted that way, not necessarily on merit. So we know these in this country as general election safe seats, where it doesn't really matter who sat on that seat. The people in that area will always vote the same way, regardless of who is in the seat. So that this is a way that lots of conservative politicians have managed to get into Parliament. However, the general election safe seats are becoming a lot less safe. So in our recent local elections, the Conservative Party lost lots and lots of seats which were considered safe. And then finally at the bottom, we've got it can be a popularity contest. So political campaigns are often based on personalities rather than policies. So perhaps a big example of that would be Boris Johnson and his campaign to get into number 10 Downing Street. Right, let's move on to a round of MCQs. So the first question is, which of the following terms refers to a system that rewards effort and ability? Is it A, nepotism, B, democracy, C, hierarchy, or D, meritocracy? So just leave that up on there for a moment. So which refers to a system that rewards effort and ability? It is meritocracy. Well done if you got that correct. Number 2. Which of the following terms describes a system where social mobility is not possible? Is it A, a democratic society, B, an open society, C, a closed society, D, a hierarchical society? Let's reveal the answers. It is C, a closed society. Number 3, according to Davis and Moore, how does education help the stratification of society? A, allocating roles to the most able, B, promoting a myth of meritocracy, C, reproducing inequality, and D, promoting social cohesion. Okay, let's reveal. It is allocating roles to the most able. Remember, these are the guys that came up with the theory of role allocation. 4. Which of the following terms describes the invisible barrier that limits women's progress in work? Is it A, gender domains, B, gender quake, C, glass ceiling, D, discrimination? So which of the following terms describes the invisible barrier that limits women's progress in work? Let's reveal. It is the glass ceiling, so the idea that women can see the top jobs, they just cannot get to them, although obviously discrimination is a massive part of that. And number 5 is our final MCQ, which of the following terms refers to the status given based upon an individual's inherited position? Is it A, social strata, B, achieved status, C, social class, or D, ascribed status? So which of those refers to status given based upon an individual's inherited position? Let's reveal. It is ascribed status, so the status that you are ascribed at birth. So for example, being born into the royal family. Okay, we're going to do a couple of 30-second challenges. In fact, we're going to do 3. So our first question is, what do liberal feminists say about gender inequality? You've got 30 seconds to note down an answer. Okay, let's reveal. We've got, they focus on striving for legal equality between the sexes. They argue that most battles for legal equality have been won, but there is still clearly inequality between the sexes. So, for example, the gender pay gap. They believe there is a need to change cultural value in society. So it is possible to have a family life and gender equality, for example. Okay, our next question. What do Marxist feminists say about gender inequality? Okay, let's have a look. They argue the main cause of women's oppression is capitalism, and that capitalism benefits from unpaid work. So, for example, through their unpaid domestic labour and by producing the next generation of workers. They also argue that women absorb anger and that this anger should be directed at the ruling classes and not at the women. Right, last 30-second challenge is, what do radical feminists say about gender inequality? Okay, let's check. They do not believe changes in the law around equality will ever be enough to end oppression of women. They see society and its institutions as patriarchal, so it's dominated and ruled by men, and they believe that there are many ways in which men have secured and maintained their power over women. Right, we're going to move on to another big reveal. We've got 2 this time, and what we're going to do is we are going to reveal some clues about 2 key texts that you should be familiar with as part of the AQA course. So let's have a look at the clues for our first key text, and hopefully you will have guessed it by the time we get to the question mark at the bottom. So clue number 1 is inequality at work, the glass ceiling, and motherhood wage penalty. Number 2, societal expectations of women. Clue number 3, double standards around sexuality. Clue number 4 is unpaid labour at home. And clue number 5, male violence and harassment. So what key text are we talking about here? Just pause the video if you need a little bit more time to try and work it out. So let's reveal the answer. It is Sylvia Warby and Theorising Patriarchy. Well done if you got that correct. Right, let's move on to our second key text. So our first clue is privatise instrumentalism. Clue number 2, Workers are home-centred and work is a means to the end. There is no collective solidarity. Clue number 3. Workers push for better wages and working conditions for themselves rather than as a collective. Number 4. Interviewed workers at the Vauxhall car plant in Luton. And number 5. It was a repeat of Lockwood's study in the 1960s. So again, if you need to pause for a bit more time to try and work the clues out, please do. Let's reveal the answer. It is Fiona Define and the Affluent Worker Revisited. So remember, you need to know both of these key studies as part of your course. Right, we're moving on to one final connection spinner. We're looking at people with power this time. So we have teachers, religious leaders, the police, parents or guardians, employers and peers. So let's spin our spinner. So we want to know how peers have power. Just leave that up for a moment. You may want to pause the video. So how do peers have power? So pause if you haven't done so and you need a bit more time. Let's reveal the answer. So they can encourage good behaviour at school, or obviously they can do the complete opposite. They can encourage you to get involved with all sorts of antisocial behaviour. They can use sanctions such as leaving someone out or ganging up after a fallout as well. So peers are really important, particularly if you're in your teenage years. They have lots of power. So let's just have a think about a couple of the other group people on the board. So teachers, for example, have power over their students by being able to issue sanctions such as detentions. You've got parents and guardians who could forbid teenagers to go out. They can have curfews, they can ban technology, they can stop an allowance, etc. But they can obviously also give more freedom if they wish. So well done if you got the points about peers down there. Our final activity of today's revision blast is a 3-2-1. You've got 90 seconds to answer these questions. We have 3 factors affecting power relationships, 2 of Wolby's spheres of patriarchy, and 1 type of authority according to Weber. So 90 seconds, off you go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, let's see how we got on there. So we want 3 factors affecting power relationships. Class, gender and sexuality you could have there. You could also have age, you could have ethnicity as well. Number 2, so 2 of Wolby's spheres of patriarchy. The state and paid work, so these are things that she claimed had control over women. And then number 1, 1 type of authority according to Weber, charismatic. So you could also have rational, legal, and you could have traditional. So well done if you got those correct. And well done for getting to the end of the revision blast. We have covered lots of different activities looking at the perspectives on stratification, which will hopefully enable you to go into paper 2 feeling much more confident. Have a look at the playlist on YouTube with the different revision blasts that we have put together for AQA GCSE Sociology. We have covered all topics, so do work your way through them. And the last thing from me is to wish you the very best of luck with your 2 exams.